what we got to do is make our way back to a long lost, forgotten about food plot that really has just been neglected for the past year or two. Why? How? When? Let me show you. This is why, fellas. This once was a luscious green pasture, a deer garden, if you will. That is no more. What happened, you might ask? I got engaged. It's all worth it. She's a wonderful woman. Kill a lot of deer back here, though. We need another one. Range, let's go, buddy. Man, I got a lot of native grasses in here. Everything in here is pretty much seeded out, which is not good. I think we're gonna be able to get the tractor back here today, no problem. Ground's feeling solid. And we're gonna have to get this whole thing out of here with the forks because I don't have a grapple. Not sure what the wood's even gonna look like. This stuff's pretty soft. Let's get it out of here. I need room for deer. Here's what we ended up with. Nice pile of rotten logs. This guy here, this is a freshie. This is what it should look like. It's been up off the ground by itself for a few months. And then there's everything else. I'll show you up close what I was getting stuck in. Just making it so difficult to bring anything out. That's this mess right here. Now it does look like it's gonna rain here today. Let's hit this quick and call it a day, huh? Oh, missed the stick, great. Put her in low, boys. We got a mud hole we gotta patch up. All right, boys, what do you think? It's pissing on me. Brand new camera, not waterproof. Don't know how to work it. There goes my mic. Check back with you guys, I don't know, tomorrow? Adios. Fellas, welcome back. I don't remember exactly where we left off, but I do remember I and the camera were both getting a little bit wet. We're expected to get some more rain tonight and the next few days, so I have waited until now because it's an integral part of the next step, moisture. Real quickly, here we go. I've got some 6-foot rye here. The time that you do want to do this is before this seed turns viable. So right now it's mid-May. I am a little bit late, but hopefully when I squeeze this, I get a little bit of moisture out of this seed head. Let me see if I could see if you guys can see it. So if you can see that goo coming out, that's good. That's called the dough stage, and that's where we want to be. That's If we wait much longer than this stuff will be viable, and when I put this back into the soil, it's gonna grow. Or I would have about 2-3 weeks ago cut this all down to stop that from happening. This year, my food plot, Keegan's food plot, would be the food that we're gonna eat, aka her garden, kind of took precedent over, you know, me feeding the deer back here. So I guess she thought, you know, tomatoes and peppers that we're growing is more important than grains and greens for the deer. But I think otherwise. She wins. The most important step of doing a food plot is what I'm about to show you right now. Testing your soil. You can't just come back and have no idea what you're planting into and expect to get radishes that look like this. That's hard work. It's hard work and it's science. You got to dig a little dirt out, send it to the lab. They tell you exactly what to put in, exactly how much, based on what you want to grow there. Depending on the size of your food plot, you're going to take this sample in a bunch of different areas to try and incorporate, you know, this soil might be a little bit different than the sandy soil that's back there and the loamy soil that's over here. So we want a good representation of the entire food plot. So if you have an acre, go take 5 different samples evenly spaced in that acre, mix them all up in one bucket, give it a good shake, stir it up, and send it out to the lab. Okay, now as you can see, this thing will bog down quite a bit when it finds some kind of stump, rock, something big underneath there, and it will and it has stalled this tractor right out. Like that. This tiller is made for like a 40 horsepower tractor, so I'm not doing it any justice with this 26, but it's not mine. I borrowed it from my buddy Brett. This thing, I have found that as long as I don't bury it, if I take these shoes off and shove it all the way down, it's not going to do its job. But if I'm just doing the top layer like I am back here, it does fine work. I had to do a couple of extra passes here just to make sure all this grass is actually tore out from the roots. Also to avoid little things like this. Give me a little bit of trouble, but nothing too bad. Nothing my buddy Brett might be mad about me using this machine for. I was digging around looking for this earthway spreader. This is what I use to spread all my seed. I've got 25 pounds of buckwheat, and I dug up my food plot bag from last year. Those are the giant beets, turnips, and radishes that I grew last year. And then I've also got this Beekeeper's meadow mix. It's just a clover mix. So we are going to get some of this in the bare spots over there on the other half of this food plot that is clover, and that new spot that I moved all the logs from. What the buckwheat is for is a cover crop. This stuff grows so fast and puts on so much mass, it will outgrow any weeds that are in here, any of this grass. The seeding rate that I do use here is 50 pounds of buckwheat per acre. This obviously isn't an acre. I figure if I round up, it's a quarter acre back here. So if I use half this bag, I'd rather go a little bit heavy than have some spots where I got weeds popping up. Don't spill. Now what I'm going to try and do is use about half the bag going this way, vertically, and then go horizontally for half the bag so that I make sure I don't miss anything. Sometimes that doesn't always work out. Just gotta eyeball it. Yeah, we went a lot heavy. Cool. That'll do it. We're gonna have good coverage with that. And we're gonna have good germination because it's starting to sprinkle already. Oh, crazy dog, crazy dog. Now, I failed to mention what we do with the cover crop. Why do we want something growing here? What we want to do, we want to give this about 6 to 8 weeks till it starts flowering. We're going to come in here, knock it over with a cultipack, or what I'm about to show you what I use as a cultipack, and break the stalks. That is going to lay down right on top of whatever we plant. So here's what we're working with. You can see all the little seed in here just sitting on top. What we want to do is ensure that we have good seed to soil contact. How are we going to do that? With a cultipack. If you don't know what a cultipack is, I don't have one to show you. But what I do have is a gill rake, or a soil pulverizer, some might call it. This thing's pretty cool. Some say it's like a specialized implement, but I use it all the time. I find uses for it. You get this big I-beam here, and on both sides of the I-beam, you've got spikes. Those are offset, so that's going to break up any of the clods. As you can see, I'm missing a few. I'm on the hunt for a couple railroad ties to rectify my problem. And then on the back, there's these 2 spring-loaded tumblers. This is what I basically use as my cultipack. I'm going to, as you can see, I got my top link adjusted. Don't mind the fact that it's bent. That was the old snowblower accident of 2020. But I've got the top link almost all the way out. So what that's doing when this thing is raised is forcing these tumblers, which are spring-loaded, all the way to the ground without putting these spikes down there. Now, if I want to use the spikes, which I will be using in the other half of this field, I could, 1, adjust the top link, or 2, come over here and at least I got 1 set of spikes now, rub it on the ground. You can come over and do this with ATV tires or tractor tires. Like, this is doing the same thing, but you know, having a 10-inch tread mark there is going to take forever, even to do this little field. So this at 6 feet is a little big for my tractor. Everything I own is a little big for my tractor. The thing is, we need a bigger tractor. So I'm going to put this down just before where those spikes are digging in. And as you can see, works pretty well. Just don't want to move too much soil. I don't want to be balling it up and regrading here. Why did I start in the middle? Good question. Like I said, keep watching it so you don't do this. Come on, Cam, what are you doing? Well, I'll need to touch this up with a little seed now. On that note, it's probably time to put this camera down, focus on what I'm doing. We don't work out, we food plot. What we're gonna do is actually angle it quite a bit the other way. We want these sets of spikes to break up the earth and make some grooves for this clover seed to get into. Whitetail Food Plots USA. This is my neighbor. This is my neighbor up the road. I saw this in Tractor Supply. It's actually in every Tractor Supply in New York State. I saw this at a couple of local places in East Aurora, and right on the bag it says East Aurora, New York. So I called this dude. I was like, hey man, I'm into this. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about what you do. Turns out my boy Paul lives right down the road. Invites me over, lets me see his whole setup, and he does make a good food plot mix. Alright, so I've collected some sticks for sure, but let me show you what this thing looks like after. So all those bare spots, see this clover that I was talking about, this stuff will all be fine. This will all pop back. You can run over it, it's fine. It's a little lumpy over here. There's a lot of roots coming in and out of here. So I've got piles of stuff like this, right? A little bit of topsoil, a lot of bit of sticks. So what I'm gonna do is take all this, go find a low spot to throw it in and get it out of here. I apologize, it was my first video with this new camera that I still don't know how to use, but I did, after I got done shooting the portion that you guys saw, throw some clover out, and this is also another it's like 2 weeks and 3 days that this stuff's been growing. So this stuff's coming in nicely as well. Just wanted to get these bare spots taken care of because, like I said, don't let me catch you with bare soil. Don't let me catch you with bare soil in your gardens or your food plots, men. Inexcusable. Now this is only 2 weeks of growth, so it is a bit spotty, and you can see my tire tracks on the tractor in some of this, but this will all come up and totally canopy out this whole thing, and in about another 2 weeks you won't even be able to tell. So I think what actually happened was we got a little bit too much rain. We've been having some torrential downpours, like crazy downpours, and I think that water was probably just running down these tire marks and taking the seed with it. Like, as you can see, there is no buckwheat coming up at all in this tire mark, and that's kind of the same throughout. So you got to get rain, but there is such thing as too much rain. And I thought this was kind of cool. You can see these deer are chomping it. I mean, buckwheat's not really that palatable, and I'm actually kind of surprised with everything that's growing in the forest right now that these guys are choosing to eat this. Well, that's it. Range and I are headed out of the woods. I just got stung by a bee. He just took off after a deer that was bedded down over here for the last 20 minutes. I've got to get out of here and go to work. That's everything that I've got for you guys today, at least until August 1st. August 1st will be our target date, pending weather, for our fall food plot. I'm not exactly sure what that mix is going to be yet. I might try something new this year. I might go with Old Faithful. If you guys are interested to see what I do plant and this method of planting into this buckwheat, seeing how it works, seeing if it works, I won't pull any punches. I'll show you exactly what I do and the results. I'll tell you exactly what I plant. So if you guys do want to see that, please subscribe to the channel. Come back and watch some more videos. Thank you for watching this one, and we'll see you on the next. Strumbo, you think I can get a kiss? I can get a little kiss? Yeah, thank you. Oh, that's nice.